Hi boys, so you want to smell good so all the ladies fancy you and want to go out with you, right? Not because you think that their panties are going to drop because you smell so awesome. I'm sure, I have every faith that most of you don't think that. But I know that the guys want to smell good for the ladies. And I think that's kind of how it goes when it comes to fragrances. I think chaps think about a lot more how it will be received by women, whereas women generally pick what they love to wear. I'm sure I certainly do think about how it affects other people and whether it smells pleasing to other people. But I think with you chaps, some of you, you may be a little bit more concerned about how appealing it is to the opposite sex or even the non-opposite sex, whatever you choose. So, how does a man smell good? In my opinion, please don't slate me. This is just my opinion. And this is my honest opinion. There is no top 10 list of the top 10 fragrances that smell the best, that's going to get you the most compliments, that's going to get you the most success with the ladies. You have to choose to wear a fragrance that suits you, that you're comfortable wearing, and that is the most important thing. But so much more important than that, is you have to be aware of all the other smells that could be emanating from your body, your clothes, and your environment. So I think number one is you can rock any fragrance you want if you're comfortable with it and you feel that it fits the scenario. So, for example, I think men can totally wear female fragrances. This is marketed towards women. Sun by Jill Sander. It's clean and fresh. Yes, of course, there is a bit of floral in there. It's musk, there's woods. It's really, really awesome and totally, in my humble opinion, totally unisex. I would love to smell this on a chap. Just spray the air because I've run out of skin. So, yeah, I think that smells great and like cheap. £15 for a bottle. I think it's 75 mils. And I'm just saying, do not be put off by fragrances marketed towards females. Just wear what suits you and it doesn't matter. I think most women, any decent woman, will give you kudos for being brave enough to wear a female marketed fragrance. Next, don't be afraid of super cheap stuff. This is Joven Musk. I've got 118 millilitres here and it cost me about, I can't remember, £6 to £8. This is a splash bottle. I'm sure there are loads of other options available. This is just a super clean musk, so crowd pleasing. You got some citruses that give it a little bit of a lift. It's woodsy, but there's this beautiful, beautiful musk running all the way through. The performance, bearing in mind it's an eau de cologne, no, it's not even an eau de, oh yeah, it's aftershave cologne, so however you want to take that. Bearing in mind it's not an eau de toilette, the performance is amazing. I've put this on at night and still smell it the next day. So do not be afraid to wear super cheap fragrances just because you think that they smell cheap. They don't always. Often the case they don't, especially the older, longer standing fragrances. There's a reason why they're still going 20 years after being released, I think. So don't be afraid of those overlooked lower shelves in the chemist or the drugstore. Have a sniff. You might find something super awesome and super cheap. How awesome is that? So that's that. What else am I going to say? Don't be afraid to wear very popular fragrances, because there's a reason why they're popular. They're going to be crowd pleasing. This is a favourite of mine. I've got a vintage bottle there of Le Male. Absolutely love the way this smells, and I always appreciate it when I smell it on a guy. Yes, there is the risk that you could smell like the ex, or there's the more popular a fragrance is, the more chance there is that people will have memories attached to that. So there's always that risk. So maybe on a date you might want to wear something slightly less popular. But why not wear that when you go out clubbing? Why not wear that whenever you bloody feel like it? Don't be afraid just because everyone knows it. It's not a bad thing all the time. Don't be afraid of, I'm not saying don't be afraid. But guys can totally rock niche fragrances. Of course, there are some niche fragrances that are extremely masculine. There are some that lean more feminine. This is Cuir Beluga from Guerlain, a very soft, powdery, vanillic fragrance, a little bit of orange, and gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous gourmand fragrance on a man or a woman. So what I'm trying to say is you can wear any fragrance you want, and try not to be afraid of the ballpark that fragrance comes from. Talking of balls, have the balls to ask a lady if you like how she smells. Ask her what she's wearing. It really does spark up a conversation. It doesn't have to come off creepy, and it will definitely earn you points, because after all, it's not about the fragrance, it's about your personality and the way you treat someone. I think everyone knows it deep down. We're all just trying to find things that make life a little bit easier. But don't be afraid, you know, if you're looking great, you know, you're feeling good, you're smelling great yourself, and you notice a lovely fragrance in the air, why not just say, oh, is that you? You smell really nice, I like that fragrance. It's not necessarily coming onto someone, but at the same time, you never know, you might get lucky. So, but finally, yeah, I said about be mindful of your overall fragrance. So, of course, I'm sure we all know to have a shower, but also be like, sometimes you don't wash your hair for very long. That gives off like a funny smell. The scalp has this musky kind of smell. So, you know, if you're looking to impress and be like tip top of your game, then yeah, make sure you've shampooed your hair, make sure your shirt is freshly washed, make sure your shoes don't stink, put them funny little things inside, the deodorizer things, or give them a wash or whatever, you know. Make sure your socks have not been worn before. We all do it. Like, I never find a pair of socks, never. There's one black one over there, there's one pink one over there, and there's a pair that I finally found yesterday, so I end up putting the same socks on. It happens, it totally happens. But if you want to be on top of your game, smelling fucking awesome, then you know you have to make the effort to find a pair of socks that are clean and all that shit. We all know what to do, but you really can tell. If you're a smoker, you need to be properly scrubbing your hands every time you go to the loo, or every opportunity, because that's the smell on the skin. It really sticks, and you won't really notice it because you're used to it. And also, smoking damages your nasal receptors. So if you're a smoker, then you need to be washing your clothes even more often. Like, I've got jumpers that don't get washed. I can wear them several times, I don't bother washing them. Maybe I'm just a skank, I don't know. But if you're a smoker and you have one cigarette while you're wearing a jumper, that jumper's going to stink of smoke, unfortunately, until you wash it. So this is what I think. If I want a guy to smell really good, then he's got to pay attention to all those little things. It's not about the fragrance that he chooses, it's about him being comfortable with that fragrance, or even without a fragrance. You don't have to have a fragrance as long as you're clean and smelling fresh. And smelling clean and fresh is really the most attractive thing you can do to attract a woman. You know, even if you just smell of soap or just a lotion. I got compliments before I became a frag head. I remember I went on a date with this bloke. He's a prick, by the way, but needless to say, when I first met him, give him a hug, and I hadn't worn any fragrance, but I had just had a shower and I had on a really nice body oil, and he's like, oh, you smell amazing. And all it was is obviously just a scent of cleanliness, probably a little bit of the shower gel, and the body oil just smelled really good. And to me, you know, I used to quite enjoy being quite subtle in the way I smelled. You had to get closer to actually realise that I smelled so good. In a way, that's got a little bit more power, because if you smell fucking awesome but only that close, then that person that finds that smell attractive, if they do catch a little whiff of it, they're going to find an excuse to get a little bit closer. So that's another thing, is that whole beast mode that, you know, you want. Some people want to smell like arm's length, fill up the room, all that stuff. Yeah, that definitely, some circumstances would, you know, that's great for clubbing and like gigs and concerts and stuff like that, parties. But generally in life, I think that whole beast mode thing is perhaps a little bit overrated. But anyway, that's my opinion, and I'm looking forward to the hate for this. So thanks for watching.